All right. I'm a firm believer of the quote, "When life gives you lemons, make lemonade." I'm from the Netherlands, and it can happen that I get a seizure during this presentation. When it happens, just put me on the floor, put a jacket under my head. Don't call an ambulance. I don't have any medication. This is usually how I introduce myself in class. In university, we change classes all the time, and people, they do an introduction round, and this is how I have to introduce. When something happens, please don't call an ambulance, and people look at me like, that's scary. I have to tell them, because otherwise panic will break out when I have a seizure. So I have been diagnosed with PNES 3 years ago, and I've been suffering from it since 5 years. And it was a normal day at high school. I was just having lunch, and all of a sudden, my body started shaking, like Dapper and Bambi, except I was not so happy. And yeah, I drove to the emergency room, and I was shaking, I was out of consciousness, and then the whole process began. What was happening? I got an EEG, everything was fine. It's good, you're perfectly healthy, you can go home. But I had 6 seizures a day, and I'm talking about grand mal seizures. So it actually was unconscious, would fall on the floor and shake there for like 10 minutes. So I was basically going to the doctor's offices like this, like, I have this thing, I fall on the floor 5 times a day, I cannot live my life anymore, can you please help me? But my EEG is fine, and mostly they would say, your EEG is fine, so you're healthy. An epileptic clinic in the Netherlands, and they did some more tests, and I went in there for a couple of days, and they put a video camera on me and an EEG, and then they caught a seizure, and then they diagnosed me with PNES. So that is the first time that I heard about PNES. And then I knew about it, and I was put in the PNES patients box, which was nice because I finally had a name for the condition. But then they said, yeah, you have this, but we cannot treat you. So, good luck. And I went out of that office thinking, what do I do now? So I went to all these kind of psychologists, and I said, listen, I have these seizures, can you please help me? And they said no, because it's way too physical. You're falling on the floor, and I think that's scary. Until I found one, and I started EMDR treatment, and that actually helped a bit. So I was getting so frustrated with all of this, and I was thinking, I cannot be the only one in the Netherlands or in the world that has this condition. So I started researching, and then I found Lorna and her book. And then I thought, well, it's time for a change. I found out about the conference, and I started booking a plane ticket, and everyone was telling me, you should not go there because you can be disappointed, and what if it's not what you're looking for? And I was like, yeah, I cannot become any dumber from this. I can just go and see what happens, and if it's a good thing, it's a good thing. And then I started writing a blog about my experiences, and people were reading it. I'm writing it in English, so people from all over the world read it, which is actually nice to see, and people start responding. And then I went to New York for the first conference. This is the 3rd time I'm here now, so it's the 3rd conference. And it was actually a great experience. It was the first time that I saw other people with the same condition, and that I could talk and speak with someone and say, hey, I know what you're going through. And that was amazing. It was what I was been waiting for like 5 years, and it finally happened. So it was not a disappointment at all. So then it started to run its own life, and then I thought, might as well do something with it professionally. I'm so motivated to do something about this and to help spread awareness. But at the same time, I also still needed to cope with my own stress and triggers, and I had to find out what triggers my seizures and how do I live with that. And I actually made the decision to live on my own. So I live in a dorm room on my own bathroom and stuff like that. And it was scary also for my parents, but I had the feeling I needed that, and I did it, and it actually goes okay. If I feel a seizure coming, I just go sit on the bed. And if it happens, it happens. And I'm actually doing fine with it. But sometimes when I just got diagnosed, I felt sometimes like a frozen person because everyone is watching you all the time. And I know that caregivers are wanting the best for you, but for instance, my mom is a very caring person, but she has her eyes on me all the time. Like, are you feeling okay when I suddenly make a move? Are you okay? Are you having a seizure? I'm like, Mom, I'm okay. So actually it was a good decision to live on my own and to get a bit of independence, because otherwise it's just becoming a bit too suffocating sometimes. So I try to keep calm. I emphasize try, and let it go. And I think what is also important, and what was also said before, is that you have to set boundaries. I would say yes to things that I actually meant no to, and it only harms me if I say yes to that stuff. And if I get a seizure, I'm resting for the next couple of 5 days, and the other person is not. They don't care, they just move on with their life. So you actually have to be very careful and protect yourself for certain things. So I try to live as balanced as possible, but not always works out. But I think you should at least try. So when I came for the first time to a conference, I went to Dr. Myers and I asked her, do you have any internships? And she was like, I don't know. Do I? And then I actually said, well, maybe we can figure something out. So I went there last year. I worked with her and with Jace in the office for 3 months, and we did research, and we actually published a paper, right? So that's actually really cool. And now I'm continuing. I'm slowly but surely climbing the steps, and I'm graduating, and I want to do a master in health policy, innovation, and management. I really have the ambition to tackle this problem already down at the education level, because that's where it needs to be done. The younger generation needs to know about this. If I have friends of mine that study medicine, I always ask them, do you know about conversion disorder? Do you know what that is? Do you know what PNES is? And I think that's where it all has to start. And I really want to make this my goal in life. So again, I'm Nadine. I'm so much more than PNES. And my ambition in life is to make lemonade. Thank you.